Hello, everyone. Today we will speak with Dean Vaughan, Vice President for Asia Pacific at Azul, about the evolving role of Java in enterprise technology, particularly in the context of AI adoption, cloud optimization, and licensing shifts. Drawing from Azul's 2026 State of Java survey, the discussion will explore India specific trends, the growing confidence in Java for AI driven workloads, migration patterns away from Oracle Java, and how the organization in sectors such as BFSI and telecom are rethinking performance, security, and long term platform strategy. So, thank you, Dean. Thank you for joining us today.
Ashwati, it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you. Wonderful.
Yeah. So let's start our discussion with a very important question about the survey. So your 2026 state Java survey points to a shift in how enterprise view Java. So what are the most striking India-specific findings from the report, and how do they differ from global trends? Do you think?
So I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but you're certainly in line with the global trends. Some of the other regions in APAC, not so much, but India's, I think, along with your economy, definitely in line and heading in the right direction when it comes to Java. So the points that are really standing out for me are firstly the continued concerns around what Oracle is doing with their new license model, right? And with regards to particularly the employee count and looking at employees as the way in which they price. Now, in India in particular, that's a concern because Indian organizations generally have a very large employee count, which means that they can be up. It can be quite a few bills and costs associated with the employee count. However, what's probably even more interesting with regards to India is, as India, Prime Minister Modi is moving to a cashless society, right? And as you move more and more to a cashless society, there's a real growth of payment processing organizations, and these organizations built in the cloud, or they've got their own on-premise data center. And as a result of that, looking for speed, efficiency, and Java is driving that for them in a big way. They're also looking to reduce their costs of infrastructure, and they're using Java. We'll get into that a little bit later on how they're using Java to reduce their costs. And then finally, too, Java proliferation, particularly with AI and the cloud type companies, particularly the new sort of app-based organizations that are rapidly growing in India as well. I mean, the Indian tech market is growing dramatically, and there, that AI technology, it's all built, particularly the infrastructure that brings it up front. It's all on Java. So we're seeing a lot of growth in India, particularly around those three areas, and I think it's a good thing for India.
Okay, well, sounds great. That sounds great. So, my next question about the report is the report suggests Java is emerging as a fundamental language for AI development, and AI is a big word currently. So, in an ecosystem dominated by Python, what is driving renewed confidence in Java for enterprise AI use cases?
So, okay. The report that we've been running interviews 2,000 people worldwide, and lots of those individuals, customers, etc., are located in India, right? And so there is a strong Indian influence in the results of the report. We've been running the report since 2023, I think, and it's really grown. And so before I answer your question, I just want to point out that part of the reason it's grown so much is because there is a bit of a vacuum when it comes to Java. So organizations are searching for real data to support their direction and where they're headed. Okay. So that's the history of the report and the importance. when it comes to AI, there and Java, there's two parts to the AI discussion that I'd like to highlight. The first is there's the AI that we touch. Okay, so when we use ChatGPT or Perplexity, or if there's an application that we're using and that application is accessing AI tools, large language models, etc., that's the app. But the real power of the AI is all of the software that sits behind it. Okay, so that's your Kafka, your Spark, your Elasticsearch, HBase. These are what enables the application itself to be able to go out and retrieve the information. Really, big data applications, etc. They all bring it together. You see the output on it's more like cosmetic on the app, but it's really what happens behind it. And all of that runs on Java. So in India, and definitely in India, it's no different to other parts of the world. But we are seeing, as AI is more and more adopted, we're seeing Kafka environments explode. We're seeing HBase Elasticsearch environments explode. We're seeing microservices. Any app that is a microservices app that's leveraging AI, we're seeing this explode. Now, what's happening is, with that explosion of those apps to power the AI, the net result of that is more compute is required, right? Therefore, more cost. So back to what I said to answer your first question, and I'm going to come back to this theme quite a bit. Organizations are looking at Java now to do one of two things: either improve the performance of the application or reduce the cost of infrastructure to deliver that service to their customers, to deliver that AI service to their customers. So the important message here that I'd like your listeners to think about is, when they think about AI, it's not just the app, right? It's not just the AI app. It's everything behind it. And how do you position, what infrastructure, what software do you need to be able to ensure that AI query or information that's presented is sourced quickly and efficiently and fast. Java. So there's a couple of Indian organizations that we're working with at the moment that are in the middle of their deployment, or halfway through it. And there's quite a few more that we're at pilot at the moment, where we're testing a higher performance Java, which is called Prime. And we're testing that. So, and their motivation is one of two things. It's related to AI. That's what's driving the growth, but they're either trying to keep their costs down or they're using faster performance.
Okay, that sounds great. And it is very interesting to know that your company is already working with many Indian companies, and we are going to see more developments and changes in coming future, of course.
I would love to tell you some of the names.
Please.
Unfortunately, we're working with them to get approval. But what I will definitely say is that everybody watching, their apps they're using today.
Okay, that sounds more promising too. So, okay, Dean, so now moving to the next question. So, as described, I heard that Java is a glue of enterprise AI. So, as explained, so how you explain what that means in particular terms for large Indian enterprises deploying AI at scale?
So there's a large Indian app company that is well known, and they've, the example I just used previously, where it's particularly the applications that are sitting behind the front end that they've got the most problems with as far as growth is concerned. So they're high growth, they're growing very fast. And they need to help. They need that help with scale, and it's by what they've done is they had OpenJDK, which was what they were running I can't remember the distribution. I hadn't heard of it before, of OpenJDK. And what we've been able to do is simply by replacing that JDK layer with Azul Prime, which is our high performance Java, we've been able significantly improve the performance of their applications in double-digit performance improvement. And so what we mean by the glue is Java brings it all together, right? And as I said in the sort of the previous answer there, there's a lot more behind that AI front end, and all that glue, all that sticks it all together, that makes it all happen. All that runs on Java. People, they get they often. I mean, I have this discussion regularly with different people in the industry and customers, and they ask me this question. Well, AI and proliferation, there are great programming languages for AI, and there are good programming languages out there for AI, absolutely. But what they forget is it's not just the front app that one app might be written in a different language. It's everything sitting behind it, and all that runs on Java. And that's where, when we talk about the glue to make all of those apps that glue it all together, that make it all happen, it's about higher performance Java. That's what we refer to.
Okay, sounds great. Sounds good. Thank you, Dean. My next question will be the survey highlights. So when we are talking about the survey highlights, just tell me one thing. The survey has specifically talked about an accelerating move away from the Oracle Java due to pricing and licensing concerns. And how significant this shift in India, as which sectors are leading in this migration according to your survey?
So it's very, very easy as far as the sectors are concerned. So India is an ideal market for this, right? Because of two reasons. You've got a massive financial services sector. I mean, very large, and a global. I mean, your banks are globally competitive, but because of the geographical nature and the population of India, you've got they're huge, lots of branches, and therefore their IT spend is very large. But back to my point, got a large employee count, right? Which means that from an Oracle pricing model, when Oracle comes in, threatens to audit them and says, you've got X amount of employees, therefore you owe us X dollars, it's a real sudden cost to the bank that they were not expecting. And it's not just banks, it's other regulated industries like utilities. But the financial services sector is particularly interesting because the RBI in particular, right, are very stringent. I mean, I think that, the Indian banking industry is probably, from my point of view, one of the most regulated countries I deal with around APAC, and which is a really good thing. You guys should be proud of that. The reality is, there's regulation. The banks have to have supported software, and therefore they need to be working with either ourselves or Oracle. And with Oracle, with this crazy pricing model that they have, which is employee-based count, and you're a bank and you've got hundreds of thousands of employees, it's quite a bill. And so the net of it is the financial services sector is rapidly moving across to Azul. And the other big industry where we're seeing a lot of growth here is utilities, right? Because the utilities is also highly regulated. And so industries where there's a strong regulation that supported software, and not just supported software. One other point too is the security, right? The regulators are very, very focused on making sure that not only is your software supported, but it's patched, up to date, vulnerabilities are removed. And where are the two most examples of the biggest threats in that area? It's banking and finance and utilities, which are mission critical, keeping the power on, that sort of thing. Yeah. So we, from an Oracle point of view, they're the two big markets where we're seeing massive growth, and it's really linked to the audit and the employee count pricing that Oracle is doing. And just final point is, because India is so highly regulated, it's a market that's well suited to.
Right. So, as you rightly said, that India is highly regulated in terms of financial sector. So, it is very true that we do have seen a lot of millions of dollars going away in fraud and in cybersecurity issues years ago, and that's the main reason. Okay. So, and now moving to a little bit to the corporate side of it. So, cloud costs have become a boardroom issue in Indian CIOs and CTOs, as per my understanding. So,
Yeah.
how are organizations using high performance, Java platforms to optimize cloud spending and while any applications?
So we're working right now with a lot. I'd say 8 to 9 large or medium. Actually, I would say large startup to large um, uh, tech vendors, depending on how you want to classify them. That your listeners will be using on their phone, and the net of it is that the driver behind it is back to where I was saying before. As they're growing, and they're growing so fast, their costs are growing with them. And some of these vendors, some of these tech companies are all on prem, right? But they've built their own. So it's a bit. It's really a mixture. It's cost of cloud. Organizations that are 100% cloud enabled, and then other organizations have gone and built their own private cloud. Either way, the pain point is exactly the. They're going through high growth, and these costs are ramping. So what we do is if you look at our competition in the market at the moment, if you go to Oracle and say to Oracle, hey, we want to work with you, and how can we tune our Java with you to get a better performance improvement? They're going to say we have okay, that's it. If you go to Amazon with Coretta, you say, hey, you know what, we want to work with you to optimize Coretta so that we can improve the performance, reduce our costs. Amazon's like, no, it's OpenJDK. This is it. Take it or leave it. I'm not sure. I don't think Ali Cloud has a big presence, but similar in China, where Ali Cloud has their own Java called Dragon Ball, but once again, JDK, and they won't touch it. So we're the only vendor in this space, and who does this? What we do is we sit down with the customer and we say, right, how much do you spend with AWS, for example? And they'll say, well, maybe we're spending $100, right? And so we then say, right, what if we can save or speed up your application by 10 or 15% performance improvements? And they'll say, great, that'd be great if you can do it. So say, right, let's put in Prime, we'll download the logs, and what we'll do is tune the Java, and guarantee we will work with you until we see that performance improvement shown. And in some apps, we get great performance improvement. In other apps, we get good improvement. It averages out to be up. But we sign up for it. We've got skin in the game. And then we put together a pricing model, which is a bit of a win-win. The more performance improvement we generate for the customer, then there's more revenue for us, and also cost savings for the organization. So we already have a number of customers in India that have this kind of relationship with us, and we are literally it's a white glove treatment for the where we're helping them literally replace that Java layer in their cloud, and we're putting in high performance Java, and then we're tuning it together with them to drive so the performance is measured based on the application sitting above it. There's a metric that we'll choose with the customer, and we'll say, right, based on this metric, we will tune the Java to get you the performance. And one thing to point is that it's not an out of the box thing. It really does require the tuning because we can go into one customer with a software stack, go into the very next customer with exactly the same software stack, but because it's different, it'll require different. So the tuning part is a big part of the service we provide. But I just go back to message to you: we're the only game in town. There's no other Java distribution will work with you at this. And the benefit then is now I derive, say, 10% performance improvement in the application, right? So now I can now reduce my cost of compute by 10% because I need less 10% to be able to deliver the same performance. And that translates to less VM from your cloud provider, less storage from your cloud provider, less virtual private networking from your cloud provider. All of that less, and that is massive savings for the customer. And so yeah, that's the way it works. And Indian tech, in particular, in such a highly competitive market, and Indian payment processing companies, it's so highly competitive. Any edge that these guys can get over each other, they're on it.
Yeah.
And looking at the Java layer and optimizing it is an area they're all focused on.
Okay. Now, since we have discussed about a lot about the Indian infrastructure and how it is going to work, the Java platforms, I want to ask you about your acquisition of Payara. So, Azul's acquisition of Payara marks a significant expansion. So, how does Payara strengthen Azul's ability to serve enterprise Java workloads, and particularly in cloud native and microservice environments?
So, couple of things. We're very, very excited. I mean, my team and I, when we heard the news that we were acquiring an enterprise Java technology, it was music to our ears. Now, the main reason why is there's lots of economies of scale here for organizations and customers. So if you think about it, Payara has two products, right? So there's Payara Server and then Payara Micro. Each product focuses on a different market segment that we're already focused on. So let's talk about Payara Enterprise first. So this is traditionally big tech, not big tech, big top end of town, banking, financial services. So every time we're going in and doing a pilot for an application workload on a server, there's generally an enterprise Java layer there that we're also working with. It's just that we've never had a product that fit that. So now we're talking to a bank about migrating out all of their Oracle. We can equally go in there and say, hey, listen, what about your enterprise Java? And generally, let's face it, it's either going to be Oracle's or IBM's, right? Two of the main vendors, both IBM. So we offer the organization the ability now to move away from big tech to work with a pure source vendor. And what's more important, all we do is Java. Like we don't have any other products. We wake up every morning, we think about Java. So we're very focused on improving the performance of the enterprise Java layer as well as our own JDK. And so now there's an organization that has proven support and capability for the top end of town, large insurance, utilities, banking, who can support them with that. That's the first area. The second thing Payara brings to the table for us is Payara Micro. And when I say micro, that's what it's called. But Payara Micro, it's not necessarily smaller. It's designed, purpose-built for Kubernetes and microservices environments. Now, in every one of the payment processing companies and Indian tech companies that we're doing pilots for with Prime, they're all running microservices, all of them. So now we can go in and we say, hey, listen, by the way, not only can we support you on your JDK, we can also support you with your containerized Java as well. And as a result of that, we have this great product with Payara. And now we can look at the stack. So from a customer point of view, the benefit from them is if they've got an enterprise Java problem or a Java problem either way, they don't have to either Oracle or IBM. They can come, and when I say IBM, I use that loosely because JBoss is an IBM product as well, right? So they don't have to go IBM and then say us or IBM and Oracle. They can now come to us and whatever the Java problem is, we've got it, right? Because we're now end-to-end Java. So it's an exciting acquisition. I think it offers enterprises a choice now that they never had before because it was either big tech or big tech. And now they can come to an organization that is nimble, fast, and knows Java like the back of their hand and is committed to developing it.
Okay. Sounds good. Payara, we have discussed. Now I would like to discuss the Thoma Bravo. So, how does investment from the Thoma Bravo position Azul for long-term growth, and where does India fit into your expansion and the innovation roadmap?
So when I first heard of the Tomo Bravo were investing in us, I was over the moon, and I can say that my team and we're very, very excited. Tomo Bravo brings so much wealth of expertise. They own they've owned so many tech companies. They've invested in so many tech organizations in the past, and right now investments in a huge breadth of range of tech organizations. And so there's so much expertise and knowledge there that we can draw upon as an organization from Tomo Bravo. In addition to that, it gives us credibility, right? And, Tomo Bravo are committed to this relationship. So from an Indian customer point of view, there's confidence that, if they're going to invest in Azul, that Azul has an organization like Tomo Bravo behind them with the deep pockets of expertise, and Azul is a profitable company. Organizations can now invest with the confidence that Azul's secure, growing, and has backers behind it that it's going to be around for the long haul. And particularly in India, I don't blame Indian customers. Working with India now for 25 years, and Indian organizations really want to see investment locally on the ground. It's one thing to say, we're going to support you, but if everyone's overseas, it's very difficult to garner that trust. They want to see employees on the ground, which we absolutely have, and we have a big engineering support center in Bangalore. So we've got a significant investment, both sales, pre-sales, and engineering and support. So we were very committed to the market, and so I think combined with Tomo Bravo behind us, strong really is.
Okay. So, since we are again discussing the Indian ecosystem, so I am just two. I have only two questions for you now. So both are related to Indian atmosphere. So, uh, as India pushes deeper into the AI-led digital transformation, as you all know, we have major AI investments. We are actually looking forward to more AI generated, AI related infrastructure growth in the country. We have the ministry's support. The government is continuously pushing for it. We are already this month we are going to have India AI Summits, one event in Delhi where many big tech companies are coming. So, related to that, I would like to know that what role do you see Java playing over the next 3 to 5 years in a mission critical enterprise systems when it comes to the AI led digital transformation in India?
Yeah, good question. Pleased you asked this. I was in Bangalore early December. I was sitting around a table, a very senior customer. We had a customer, how would you say, round table with existing customers and some new ones. And the conversation on programming languages came up in a lot of detail. And a couple of them were quick to highlight where, India is obviously very tech savvy and so very passionate about technology. And so they'd had a couple of instances where, younger junior engineers had come with a new programming language and they wanted to write I won't mention the names, but they wanted to write their programs in this new language. And the problem was, in one case, they'd agree, the CIO would agree, and but then is left on him. And so now he's stuck with this application that's being built a language where he's having difficulty finding engineers. Yeah. So back to your question, where I see Java playing a fundamental role, because as India continues to growth, and believe me, some of the, particularly around the payment processing, as you move to a more cashless society, that's, these organizations are growing so fast, and you cannot afford to rely on niche programming. There might be the trendy new one or the latest upstart, but the reality is, if you're a senior leader in the technology part of the firm, you've got to have a pitch that you can source resources quickly. They're going to be competitively prices. You're not going to be having to pay high salaries, and you can rely on Java to deliver that time and time again. And one of the good things about Java is, you write it. The old saying, you write one, run anywhere. So it just runs. So to answer your question, I see Java becoming even more instrumental in India, if not just because of the high growth. You need something that you can rely on and something you can get resources from quickly and efficiently, and Java delivers that. Not every language does.
Okay. So based on the survey findings, my last question will be, what should Indian technology leaders be rethinking today when it comes to Java strategy, licensing, and AI readiness, according to you?
Yeah, I'll focus more on the AI, because I think we've spoken a lot about Java. So the one area I've had this discussion now across all of APAC. People think about AI, and it's back to my point, it's that cosmetic front end.
Yeah.
The reality is, you got to think about everything behind it and the cost associated with that. And so the example I share regularly is, if you look at the US at the moment with regards to the concerns over the data center expansion, how are they going to power all those data centers? So, Microsoft just invested in 3 Mile Island, and so this is the organization sitting there thinking, okay, it's one thing to have these great tools. It's another thing to have the demand. And I can have the great, AI front end. But the reality is, how am I going to deliver all of the other parts of that? And as Indian, particularly payment processing and large tech, the technology and also the startup tech, that new app industry that's really growing. When they're thinking about looking at AI and delivering an AI service, think about what's behind it, factor all that, and of course that's in my interest because it's all on Java. But the reality is, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing customers in India and elsewhere quite surprised by how fast their costs have blown out, because they haven't thought about all of the services. When I say services, the apps to deliver that AI service. And so that's the thing. I just think about it holistically, not just pretty AI front end.
Okay. Thank you, Dean. Thank you for your time. If you want to say anything in last 10 seconds, please go ahead.
No, just I love coming to India, and can't wait to come back. And Bhaswati, thank you for a wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you so much for this conversation. This was a wonderful experience with talking to you. Thank you so much.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.